welcome back, guys. And here we're back again in the studio. Danielle Palompo, welcome.
Woo!
Finally here. I wanted to have you here for so long.
Yeah.
And then here you are in Edinburgh. So I can have you here for a whole hour.
I was saying that to my cousin this morning that because I was trying to figure out how long you've been doing this, and then you told me this morning it's been like a
think
year
a year.
exactly. And I was obviously doing a little podcast, nothing as fancy as all this, for a little while, and you came on mine, and then you were like, you need to come on mine, and I said the next time I'm in Edinburgh,
Yeah.
and this is the next time I'm in
Because the
Edinburgh.
first podcast I've ever been on, it was your podcast.
And it's so funny because you told me you were nervous, but you would have never known.
I think I'm always nervous for things like that, and then I'm okay. Even like now, beforehand, I'll be
Yeah.
like a bit like shaky, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
What kind of feels like a first full circle back. So also like you was my sponsor as well from HGB,
Yeah.
and then you invited on your podcast, and then here we are. Like I'm so chuffed, and I feel like there's so much amazing things to talk about you, because I found you very inspiring. You're being humble.
That's so nice.
You're being humble. So for people who don't know who Danielle Palompo is, tell us.
I hate this question. So I think just because I'm like, where the hell do I even start? But I'm a hairdresser. I was born in Shetland. Born there, raised there. Moved to Aberdeen when I was just 17, which
Scary.
well, no, at the time I thought I was this adult that knew absolutely fucking everything. Is this a swearing podcast or not?
It's okay.
Okay, yeah, I thought I knew fucking everything and I knew fucking nothing. And yeah, I've been in Aberdeen pretty much ever since, and that's where we met. Then weirdly, we were both moving to Edinburgh at the same time.
It was so many weird things going on there
Yeah.
around the same time, and I was like, I always follow you no matter where I am, because by the way, guys, if anyone wondered about my hair color,
The beautiful hair.
and it's been like that for the last 6 years and a half.
Yeah.
That's later to point
Yeah.
out. So
And then I came here for 2 years when you moved, so you must be here for about 3 now or 4. Did you come a
four, I
little bit
think
before?
4 will be the summer.
Yeah. So I came here for 2 years, absolutely love Edinburgh, didn't love the experience I had. That was just a personal kind of traumatic thing. And something that sticks out for me with you was you talking about being, I hope you don't mind me saying, like
Go for it.
when you speak about like going through like struggles with anxiety or that you have been an anxious person. And I've gone through that as well. And people are always shocked when I say that. But I was so shocked when you said it because you come across so not anxious, but it's obviously the work that you put into it. And that's what I've been really trying to do. And it's nice when you meet someone it's nice when you share, because I think people don't talk
Yeah.
about it enough. So then you think like, oh, I couldn't do that because I'm anxious. And then to see you, I'm like, I would have never believed there was like those layers of anxiety underneath all the things you do, but you just do it anyway.
Yeah, I think maybe like my energy kind of hides that, because sometimes everyone thinks I'm just like.
You're high energy, you're very positive.
But then a lot of times I'm like, oh, right, I'm
Maybe behind-
anxious.
okay,
Yeah.
mhm.
Because I remember you did say, you asked when I came to get my hair done, and you're like, how do
How'd
you
you go
go
on
on a
stage?
stage? And I'm like, oh, like normal. I'm like to the moment where I'm like so shaking, I can't even like my legs go. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and then I'm just like, right, I need to go, and then just fake it.
And this is really mean, but I was like, oh, that makes me feel better then, because I feel like that. But then you think, you're just like, why can't I be as confident as you? But then actually, you are shaking before you go on stage. And
Yeah. But then I look at you, and then obviously that's a big chapter of your life now. You and doing classes, you like education classes, and you go out there. You also have amazing brand you're working with
Yeah.
just now, which I mean, when I first seen it, I was like, oh my God. And that brand, the color.
Sponsor bag.
So tell us about that chapter, because that's also like such a big chapter. And I think it changed so much. It was after Edinburgh as well.
So I think when I was in Edinburgh, I really lost myself and just everything. Like I had a baby, so it was hard to work. And I did hit like a rock bottom kind of period. And I was like, this is where you either keep
Break.
going or you just fucking give up. And I decided, which I think a lot of us do now. And I think a lot of people with social media, people will be like, I love social media, or people will be like, I hate social media. And it's very much what you make it. Because you could watch all this stuff and be like, that'll never be me, and it could put you into a deeper, darker hole. Or you can be like, no, I'm going to be like that, and it can actually help to motivate you. And I feel like I've always had a really like I've had a really positive relationship with social media. And that's what I kind of used it for. And it kind of got me out of this hole and it kept me going. And I started, because I couldn't get out of my house very much because I had a baby and I was with him 99.9% of
it's so
the time.
difficult to be a mother.
And I was in a city without really any help. I got the help I could. Like, I've got a great family support, but they're so far away.
Mm-hmm.
So I was using social media to promote. I was a hairdresser, and I've always been a hairdresser, and I've always been obsessed with hair. Always loved being a hairdresser. Knew I wanted to be a hairdresser since I was little, which I'm quite lucky because I didn't realize that a lot of people, it's hard to kind of figure out where you want to go and
people
what you
don't
want
know.
to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was trying to share hair tips, and I was like, well, this is what I could do. Like we've already spoke about, extremely nervous person, extremely shy, which you wouldn't think, obviously, from watching stuff. And I was like, I'll share stuff, but I'll never put my face on camera. And then I started showing my face, but then I was like, I'll never speak.
And it was TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok.
You used it TikTok and Instagram as well.
Yeah, and when you're nervous to do something like that, obviously going from like not talking on camera to doing that in a day, you would never be able to do it. But if you can just do a little, like take little steps every single day to try and get yourself to like feel comfortable in something that you would be like, oh, I could never do what she's doing. I started using social media to try and do hair stuff, but from my home because I couldn't go into the salon. And because I wasn't doing that much hair, and because I found social media such a safe space, I started sharing more and more and more about my situation. And that's kind of where I guess a following started to grow, because
you was very open and very honest,
vulnerable, heart at my sleeve.
Is any like high level kind of, because you at one point you kind of had to obviously figure out what you're doing with a house and homing and move.
I was homeless for a week in Edinburgh with a baby, and I think when that situation happened and I was in a hotel, the Travelodge, and I bet a lot of people won't know this, so I think different cities are different. In Edinburgh, anyone that is homeless that they can't put in a shelter because maybe they've got a baby so it's not safe, or they've got nowhere available, they will put you in a Travelodge. So there are a lot of people that are homeless in a so you could be booking into Travelodge and there's someone getting housed there because there's nowhere to put them. And I needed a crib for Joey because he was a baby, and she came in and she was setting it up, and she said like this joke about, oh, they never sleep the same as when you're not at home. And then she went, ho. She didn't say anything because she obviously thought I'd been homeless forever.
Oh, bless. It was
a
week though.
Yeah, it was just a week, and I was like, I have had a home. Like I know, like he has a home, but it was like this. I was like, oh my god, she's looking at me like a homeless person.
Where you actually still had you were a homeowner in Aberdeen by the time you was renting the house, and also you was in Edinburgh, and that situation was
there's laws. You can't just make someone move out your house, and because I was in that city, basically I could have left the city and I could have gone back to my family in Shetland, but not to go too much into the situation that I was in with I say co-parenting in quotation marks because we weren't really co-parenting, but within that situation, I mentally felt like I couldn't leave because then I was taking the baby away.
Yeah. Yeah, so much.
When actually now, as me, if I was giving that person advice, of course you could have left. You didn't need to be homeless in a Travelodge for a week. So I ended up, now I don't share as much. I think I was in fight or flight.
It helped you.
It did help me get through
and you
it.
felt, I think maybe there is so much other people out there. I think sometimes when you actually say your story, people be like, oh my God, she's so relatable. I'm going through stuff. Maybe different, maybe similar, but I think other people feel like she's real.
Yeah.
I can trust this is safe space, but also I think, as you say, like podcast or even doing that online, kind of comes like as a therapy.
Yeah.
Like it feels like you can actually speak that out and people, listen and they support it. I think you had so much like lovely comments and so many people like being, wow, you inspired me because, you inspired me.
Oh.
Like I was like, oh my God, this girl is like on fire. And then, especially when you go through such a like hardship, even though it was short term and then you was trying to figure out, and then also now you back to Aberdeen, lovely home, back to the job. Girl, you was flying to Mexico a couple months ago with like Danger Jones, which is absolutely amazing brand, and you also working closely with the whole brand and owners, or like what do you call it, like owners, of the whole brand. And completely different space now.
But sorry to go back to when I was in that hotel room, and you were saying about how did I choose to why share so much. And I think my first instinct, and I think everyone does this, is when something bad's happening, you're like, what will I tell people? How can I explain this situation so it's less embarrassing? Because that's what it is essentially, is your ego. So it's like, how do I just say that there's house renovations kind of what do you say to be like, okay, so we're in this hotel, just for, not that you have to tell every single friend and every single family member, but it's like, how do I explain this? Because it's mortifying, really. And I think everyone goes through situations like that in their life, even if it's a breakup or whatever it may be. And a lot of those financial things are the things that we get embarrassed about the most, and it's how people view. And I kind of sat and I was like, well, I literally can't really, what can I say? Or I can go the opposite and I can tell everyone, so no one can slag me off, no one can shame me, because I am talking about it so openly. People can't be like, oh, have you heard what happened to Danielle Palompo? Because I've told everyone already. So I think that was my own it. Just own your bad bits, because it's not, it's life. It's
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people not often share the stressful part of their lives, where I think then there is such a big growth moment, and it makes you realize how strong you are as well. And then when you look back in that situation, has that been 2 years or something?
So yeah, May I'll be back in Aberdeen in my house for 2 years, which is crazy.
It's actually crazy. And I think those situations really build who we are. I think in life, I think everyone goes through stuff. I go through stuff. We can speak that off camera. But I think a lot of times when things come and go, you if everything was just fine all the time, it's no growth. There is no that feeling of, oh my God, I'm here. But sometimes when you do have maybe a bit tougher times, a bit roller coaster, makes you actually maybe think twice when things go well. You're like, oh my God, am I here in a situation where is this my life and is actually in a better place? So I think it does build us, the way those challenges come at us. And yeah, girl, honestly, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely smashed that. That's because how old is Joy is now?
He just turned 4.
4.
Yeah, so he's chatting away.
He's living his best life.
And it's crazy, some of my friends are starting to have babies, and I'm like, oh my God, you're like a boy now. It's funny how quickly they go, I don't have a baby anymore, I don't really have a toddler. He's a wee boy, and
helps you as well in the
yeah,
salon.
has conversations, and it's
absolutely amazing.
It's crazy. But I think as well, when you're going through those times, you don't really have time to think about it, because I think we all talk about fight and flight mode and that kind of stuff, but I didn't really understand, I didn't know about it. I didn't know what it meant. It's one of those sayings you say, but you don't really know what it means for your whole body and your mental state, and your nervous system being absolutely fucked. And so when I started to learn about that, and I got a mentor, because I felt really stuck with work. I was like, I just don't have the time. I know where I want to be, but I'm not getting there. I love this girl from online, and she started mentoring. So I was like, well, just get her to mentor me. And then when we started mentoring and I started to learn about myself, I was like, it's not my job that's holding me back. It's me. It's my mental state. It's the fact that I'm trying to ignore all these things that have happened to me. And even though I've kept going, you can only be in fight or flight for so long. And not everything, because I'm not an expert on this, not a therapist, you don't have to unpick every single little thing, but there will be things that have happened to you. If you don't unpick them, it will hold you back from certain things. Not whatever path you're on, there might be things that you can push aside because it's irrelevant, but there will be important things. It's right, you need to work through that one to help you get to where you want to go, and it's the thing that's probably holding you back. So after going through that mentoring, I was like, holy fuck. I thought it was going to be just really okay, so right, let's get organized with this for work, and let's get organized for this.
To-do list.
And let's do not do this, and let's not do this, and let's make a plan. And it was a therapy in itself. And I was like, maybe I do need to go to therapy. Maybe that's the thing that's holding me back. So started doing that this last 6 months, and it's been insane, in such a positive, crazy way, but it can it can definitely help everyone and like anyone. I'm sure I had another little point to go into therapy. It'll come back to me. But so working through when you're going through it, you think it's hard, but actually when you go to therapy to work through the thing, because you're in a better state of mind, it's actually so much harder because you're kind of on the other side of it now, and you see the old you as a different person, and I'm like,
what is going on?
What happened to you? Are you okay? Like and I'm like, how I want to ask him, how did you survive that? That's nuts.
Someone needs a hug.
Yeah.
So can I give you a hug?
Yeah. And you almost have to grieve it from like it being like looking at your sister or looking at your best friend or someone that you just or your younger self, if you've ever done that, like younger child therapy and stuff.
Of course.
And you're like and you're just like, oh my, and you kind of go through it in a different whole way, and you have to process it and it's no one tells you that actually healing from something is harder than going through that.
Yeah. Because I think that
because you don't have time to feel, really.
In that situation, you're just surviving a lot of times. And I think what leaves you after, that's why they call it, I guess, trauma, because some stuff can stay
That's
for
another
life.
word. That's another word that's overused. So when you're like, oh, trauma, and you don't think about it, but when you really
you actually understand
pick
or
it
feel it
and understand it, it's like, okay, everyone deals with trauma.
And then I think it affects our decisions, or maybe blocks or fears for the future. It could be, I don't know, it could be a relationship, could be like anything professional, it could be like any type of thing going on. So, and I think it's so nice and real to actually hear your story, because I didn't think I knew as much, and it's actually so nice to even hear how you process it and think about it. And it's been 2 years, and the podcast how old do you remember when it actually started?
It started after I was no longer homeless. I had started. So basically, I was there in that hotel for like a week. Hit my full rock bottom. Had a kind of like, what am I doing? Like, there is no help. Why am I here? Like, I'm here. I was in Edinburgh for so my son could have other parts of his family in his life. They weren't showing up. So I was like, why am I here? Like, I'm alone with my son in a hotel room. So I went back to my mum and dad's in Shetland, and I was like, because I kind of, since he was born, we never had a secure place to stay. We were kind of like staying with his dad for a bit, and then that would end. So then we would go stay with my mum and dad for a little bit, but then because they were so far away on an island, I would want to come back to the mainland, and then I would stay with my son's dad's mum, so his granny essentially, but then that wasn't ever long term. So we were kind of in and out of suitcase for the first year, so it was never stable.
That's a lot for the baby as well.
Yeah. But you're doing it at the time, you don't think about it. So then when I went back to Shetland after the hotel, I was like, I need to decide where my son is going to have a stable upbringing, and we're going to stay there. And love Shetland to death, love going to visit, but it's just not for me. And I've known that since I was an early teenager. I didn't want to live there long term. Like, it's too small, it's too quiet for me. I like a city. It doesn't have to be a massive city,
but just more things, basically.
Just more. And I always liked Aberdeen, but I never felt like it was my home. So being in Edinburgh, I loved Edinburgh. Like, I really did. The situation hadn't been ideal, but I also, if I could give my son a family life where he would get to see more of both his parents, I was like, I'll come back here. If the other parent is willing to parent and we can do that together, I want to be here. So that was the plan, and I came back here and got a house to rent. Very, very lucky, because it's so bloody hard to find anywhere here. And unfortunately just kind of fell back into the same way of being very alone in Edinburgh and not getting that help that I hoped I would have gotten.
Yeah.
And because I was in a house with a baby all the time, me and my friend had basically joked about starting a podcast. I think a lot of friends do that now. Like, we're like, we should do a podcast, because all our drama.
But I think you started before everyone started.
Okay.
Like, I feel like you was,
before it was super popular.
Yeah, I think now, honestly, like, I feel like so many people started. But I think you was, I didn't know anyone else. Like, in my circle, and no one, apart from those also big podcasters who've done it for years.
I don't think we would have ever really done it. I think we just joked about it, and then my friend, we've been friends for like 10 years now. She moved to Aberdeen, and we met in a really funny way. Like, I didn't want a new friend, and my other friend tried to introduce me to this girl, and I was like, I don't need another friend. And then because she just moved to Aberdeen, she didn't have any other friends, so she kept asking me to do stuff. And then eventually was like, okay, we could go do something. And then we just got really close. And she's like my closest friend now. Like we're really, really close.
That's so funny.
And her husband, I've got a really good relationship with him as well. Like we've got our own friendship too. But we're basically just like a three. And we were talking about it, and he's just very... He'll just do something like without like and he just basically went and bought all his podcast stuff, and he was
goodness.
And when I was coming back to Edinburgh to live that time, she said she's got 3 kids, and she was like, if I take my youngest, why don't you just take Joey? Let's just go to Spain for 4 days and just chill. We won't have to go out. We'll get a nice apartment. The kids will go to the beach, and then we can just have some wine in the apartment at night, and we'll just chill and reset. And I was like, love that. So we went to Spain. It was one of the best times ever. Like it was so good. But her husband had bought this podcast equipment, and he was like, just pack it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, when you're in the apartment, why don't you just try it? And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I would hate to hear that pilot. It was probably off because we were like, hello. Because I don't even think I spoke. Oh no, I probably did speak a bit on camera, but I spoke. It was very like stop. I would stop and start the camera when I was speaking. So I would say something, stop it, think about it, then start. So just having to be able to do this and being like, so like, it was probably awful. And we'd had not a lot to drink because the kids were in bed. Like we'd maybe had a couple of glasses of wine. And we were like, I think it was actually, we found it really awkward because we did it in a weird way where we were kind of like this, sitting side by side, looking at a screen. And it was really awkward to look at each other sitting next to each other. And then when we came home, I think we just thought like, fuck it, let's just try for fun. And it wasn't about anything. It was just literally because we were like,
just enjoy it. Basically.
We hate when people, if people are doing podcasts and they're like, this is about parenting. It's like, well then, do you have to talk about parenting all the time? Or this is about food, or this is about being active, or this is about... So we were just like, let's just be like, it's just you and me talking shit. And basically, I think I said this before you turned the cameras on, we both clearly needed therapy a lot, and I don't want to listen to most of it. Like, it's just our ridiculous opinions on how fine we are when we were not fine at all. And we loved it, but I mean, congrats to you, because it's so much work. It's so much work, and
that's outside normal work hours. And that creative side, even coming with ideas, like, guys, and you've done so many episodes. How many episodes you had in total?
Oh, I don't know. I think I must be over 100. We did it
if no more.
Yeah, easy. I think we did it every week.
Sometimes was bonus episode as well. Which is like extra.
Yeah, I think that's because I needed more therapy. Yeah, have to do another episode. We need to do another episode. But it was just really, really fun. And actually, because we're both so hectic, and because we're friends that we lived in different cities, so that's why we just did it at home, because we didn't have, we couldn't have gone to the studio because we were so far away from each other. But it was literally just, that was because I didn't have help and I was at home, I put Joey to bed every single night. I didn't have anything. So I either was posting stuff on social media, or that was my favourite night of the week, was that I was like working. I was like, we were sitting down and we were just getting
a little project.
Catch up with my friend. And she's a stay-at-home mum of 3, and her partner has a really good job, but he's away a lot. So she again, like, and that was quite a good thing that we spoke about, is that I think there was a couple of times where she felt guilty to moan, but I was like, you can be as stressed out and going through shit. Like, she had 3 under 3.
Oh, wow.
What the hell?
That's a full-time job.
But then she'd be like, oh, but you're a single mum. I'm like, but you're yes, you've got the financial help, but that doesn't help as well when you're at home with 3 little children and your partner's away. And I don't know if I wouldn't swap lives with you. I'm like going through my own shit, but it's all hard. It's all irrelevant. Like, you cannot measure your stress or your, like how you're feeling, like trauma and like stuff, like, to someone else's. So it was like we couldn't be on further sides of the spectrum, but we were both still struggling, and we were actually very, very, very different, but
it worked.
But we just got on.
I think it really worked.
We don't like judge each other for having completely different opinions on things.
I think because I was invited. Actually, I think we had 3 episodes together in total. Like, it was one time 2, and then another year was another one. And you also guys was bouncing off ideas and chats and good energy. And I think you're very balanced. You know, have differences, but like those, you know, like you cannot really well work together. So It was actually so nice to see it. I was like, how you guys do it? This is like I think a lot of people have this is used to be my biggest fear, public speaking.
Yeah, I would
And
agree.
I feel like maybe a lot of people does have it. I don't know if school puts you in that weird space where you like have to do presentations at school when you're a child, and I'm like, oh, so word to talk. And
I think the world can just beat you down a little bit, and it depends on the environment you're in. Like if you're, I think it's a shame when you're from like a teenager, you get very vulnerable and you get very like self-aware. And if people kind of, even it could just be someone like a friend of yours or a partner or a boss or someone you work with, and they could just like use you as the butt of a joke.
yeah,
Your ego can go from there to there, and then you shrink in on yourself, and your voice is such a powerful thing in representing who you are. But if you shrink a little bit, if your ego gets a bit smaller or your self-worth starts to drop a little bit, and it can be something that's, so if you're like up here and then it could just be like, oh, you got slagged off, oh, someone said that mean
Or
thing about
laughed.
you,
Yeah.
or laughed about you when someone said something like that, or you felt uncomfortable or you were embarrassed or whatever, like every single thing, it can lower and lower and lower your self-worth, and you're like you will lose your voice and the confidence to, and that was my biggest thing with like working with Danger Jones and doing classes. Like I knew what I wanted to say, but having the ability to have the confidence to speak, which sounds so silly, but it's such a common
yeah.
thing.
And obviously, how big normally your classes is quite. You started. Is it over a year ago?
I started really small ones, like 4 to 6 people, but I'll just say whether it's 6 people or 60 people, it doesn't make a difference if you are uncomfortable with having to basically perform. If there's 2 or 3 sets of eyes on you, your anxiety and your inability to get the words out will be as bad if there was 30 people. Like it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter. I think the biggest I've done is, it's not nearly as big as some of what, like, I mean, I'll aim for bigger maybe next year. I feel like this last 2 classes I've done is the first time I've shown up without having a panic, like a
Anxiety type of
yeah,
thing
people
behind
wouldn't have seen it, but like inside, like
Yeah.
being like, oh my god, like and just, and then even if you do get through it, you didn't enjoy it because you were
Because you're a
so
bit
stressed. Yeah, so the last 2 I've done, I was like, oh my god, like I didn't have that like panic attack, and it's horrible, but you just have to keep forcing yourself into those situations. So I think the biggest is maybe like, I think when we went down to London, I think I was
Oh yes.
maybe
Of course.
40 people
Wow.
or something like that, which when you work in social, well, not work in social media, when you are posting on social media all the time, you get, I think the way that you look at numbers, you see such a big amount of numbers. It's not that much.
But then you don't see them in person.
And then you see them in person, you're like,
oh, that's a lot.
that's actually a lot of people. So and I try and say that to people when people talk about, oh, my post only got 12 likes. I'm like, that's 12 people
In the room.
yeah, that actually have acknowledged you today, whether you don't see them, you're just thinking of social media, you're comparing yourself to someone that has 100,000 followers, but that is still 12 real people that have acknowledged something that you have done, and that is amazing.
When you put them in a room, I think it makes you actually appreciate it more. And so, of course, just to put something to perspective as well, therefore Danger Jones, how that all came together, and because it sounds huge to me. Like I also from seeing it from the side, I'm like, wow, how did you do it?
Well, Danger Jones is a new color. I was going to say just, but that's a really mean word to put in there. But I mean, to try and put it into perspective, because people are like, what is it? Like, what is this? Like this thing? And it's a color brand. So the same way that any hairdresser can work with any color, they own a color brand. But they are the first. David and Alexis. David has worked within the hairdressing industry for most of his. I think he actually took out a book, which is really inspirational. He's worked in the hair industry for a long, long time, and Alexis is a hairdresser, and they opened a salon together. And
Somewhere in LA.
Yeah. Butterfly Loft, and as friends, and then they came in. Then it blossomed, I guess, into a relationship, and they decided to launch a color line, because, and as a hairdresser, I didn't know any other hairdressers felt like this. So I felt, when someone does something and they're like doing it in the hope that like someone will be like, oh yeah, that I feel seen now. That's what they made me feel like by myself. But then I just assumed, oh, no one else must feel like that. But actually there's loads of other people that felt like that. And when I was getting into education, so basically to go back to when I started like sharing lots of crap about my personal life growing online, the more that the followers went up, I was like, oh, this is good. Like I am enjoying this, but I actually want to be known as a hairdresser. I don't want to be known as an influencer. No offense to anyone that does that. Like that is
Because
a
you
lot of people like,
you are, hairdresser. That's your kind of
yeah.
thing. So you want to be
I'm
known.
not gonna lie, it was quite a novelty at the start. I was like, oh my God, like getting sent
Follower.
random stuff and it was quite cool. But I was like, I am at a crossroads and I'm going to lose my identity as a hairdresser if I keep going in this direction. People are following me because they want to see what me and Joey are up to. I've always loved being a hairdresser. I want to be taken seriously as a hairdresser. I'm not going to get taken seriously as a hairdresser if I'm just doing that side of things, just my personal life. So I was trying to like slow that down and get really hard into education. But the problem was the products that I was using, I didn't love them. And it's really hard to go and educate and talk about what I'm doing, but
love
but then say, but I don't really like what I'm using, because that's like your tool. So then it's like I really need to find a product brand that I'm obsessed with that does everything that I need it to and want it to. But the problem was I was looking and I'd be like, that looks okay, but then I'm not sure. And I didn't want to change to just change, because change, when you're changing your colour brand, it is a little bit scary. And a lot of hairdressers will put it off, some forever, and they'll just be like, oh, well, I've used this for so long, so I'll just keep using it, even though they don't love it. Yeah. And that was me for a while. And when I was going through all this stuff, like not working as much with Joey being little, I was like, well, I'm not even working that much, so it doesn't matter. But I was like, I really need to find something. So basically they launched this brand. I never heard of them at all. And it was just one of my suppliers was like, there's this new brand. And we'll all know when reps try and tell you something as a hairdresser, you're just like, no, thank you, before you even heard about it. And then he's like, oh, it's this really new cool colour brand. And I was like, I heard colour brand. And I was like, I do need a new colour brand. And I was really trying to say yes to more, not just shut things out and kind of step outside my comfort zone in little ways and just try different things. Anyway, they were doing this free call. So I was like, okay, I'll go on it and I'll listen. And it was Alexis herself, and she was talking about it. And I was like, that is everything I want from a colour brand, but it sounds too good to be true. I guess I'll just have to try it. But I said to my rep as well, I want a colour brand that is going to not help me, what's the word? Just kind of like be there with, because I'm wanting to do my education, support me through my education, not give me stuff, but just like I want to educate, like, and I want someone that's going to acknowledge me, because a lot of the time big brands, they don't. And this old colour brand that I used before, I've always posted a lot on social media about my work, not so much about me. And I would tag them, no acknowledgement, never, like, I didn't exist. And that's the same as, and I didn't have a big following. And that's what's happened for years. Like, unless you've got a massive following, you don't exist to big companies. And he was like, this was the rep had said, okay, I'll let her know. And then she had said yes to tell Danielle. Well, she said, give Danielle my email. So I emailed her directly. I didn't realize how like well known and how huge she was in our industry. And I emailed her and I said, I really want to do some education. Well, I'm doing education. So if I'm swapping over, is there any way, like, blah, blah, that we can, like, connect? And she was like, yeah, we're going to actually be she wasn't even in Scotland. She was coming to the top of England somewhere. And they were doing, like, a little kind of trade show to, like, just talk more about the brand. So she's like, come along. And I was like, okay. And I was trying to do an American accent. And so I went down with another Scottish hairdresser, drove 6 hours, watched this show of them talk about the colour. I was like, this is amazing. Even the way they spoke about it, they spoke about being a product brand for hairdressers, supporting hairdressers. There's never been a product line made by hairdressers for hairdressers. It's always made just like in a lab by people that don't know anything about hair. They just know that is allowed to go on the scalp, basically, and that won't.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, and I won't get too much into all that, but it was like, I have always been really passionate about my job, but it had come down a bit, and I just felt my passion go straight back up, because I'm like, they're interested in supporting me. This is what I want. And when you're doing something and you're like, will someone please get as excited about this as me? Because I really want to, like, I was going to the brands, I want to tell the world how amazing you are, but can you kind of help me do that? And they're just like, no, not interested. And that makes you feel really like, well, like, why
would I
gonna,
even try?
why am I going to shout about you if you're not even shouting about yourself? And they're just creating something within the industry that has been pretty much lost, and probably lost not just in hairdressing, like in lots of different parts of the world. And, you know, a lot of other brands, unless you are huge, you've already like made it yourself and you've already got 100,000 followers, you're just not going to get acknowledged. So we just started speaking, and a lot of people think that I just luckily got hand stuff, and they're like, oh,
because no one knows anything behind the
behind
the scenes.
The biggest thing I'll say to anyone is, if you want something, most of the things I've had, I've asked for. And that sounds really embarrassing, but it's how you get, people aren't going to assume like, I wonder if she might like want to do that. Maybe I'll offer her. Whereas if you ask, the worst thing that can happen is get told no.
Yeah.
And no one else knows. And anyway, I was homeless, so I don't care. Like, it's not as embarrassing as that. And everyone that I've like, every kind of self-employed hairdresser or someone that I speak to, that like, I think social media can be so hard because you're sharing stuff and you just feel like, what's the point? And they just go the extra step. Like, they'll acknowledge that you've posted something. Like, it doesn't matter if you've got 2 followers or 200,000 followers. They might share it, they'll comment on it, and they'll literally just acknowledge that you're using the product. And I just really like what they stand for, because I feel like since I've gone through what I've gone through, everything that kind of aligns with me and what I want to promote.
They also seem to be really nice people from what I could see.
They're so nice and they're so down to earth. And I was like, not scared of them, but like, I probably
intimidated, you know, when you're like, oh,
you put people on a pedestal when they've done really well. And then I think because so many people that do well, it can change them and they can become maybe a bit like, that confidence can turn into arrogance and they maybe think they're better than certain people. I just kind of thought, like, I was like, wow. And you were just like, kind of put them up there. And the more I got to know them, they're just so insanely down to earth and normal. And you wouldn't know that they're like multimillionaires. And they're genuinely so kind. Like, Alexis will message me randomly, because I think it's more like if they see, because you get the opposite, where you'll get a hairdresser that's not doing anything and they might just be like, oh, I want that, but they're not going to put in the work to then get it, but they'll acknowledge you if you're doing stuff. So they're not going to hand stuff to people randomly. But if they see you, I don't think so, but if they see you doing stuff, so I put a lot of things together myself and it's all independent, but then they'll support it. So next month, because what I'm trying to create like now is build up that sense of in real life community, because community now is always online and that's not real community.
Sure.
And so I've put together like a free event for just people that love Danger Jones, because as well, a lot of hairdressers are self-employed. So if you're using Danger Jones, come and meet up for a drink. Let's all like connect and chat, because people come in my classes, but if I'm teaching, I don't get a chance to actually
know them.
So how long have you been working for? Like, blah, blah, tell me some things about you. Like, I can't talk to everything. Like, I don't get a chance. So I was like, build some community, and that's one of the things they stand for. And so I posted about it and she saw it, and then she texted me straight away and she went, oh, how can we help support this little night? And it's just nice.
This is beautiful.
It's so nice. And it's just, it makes you want to do more when you feel like you're getting
appreciation. And even like, you know, that even not even spotlight, I would say, but just someone noticing. Yeah. And then knowing that actually you're doing something amazing and being there to support.
Mm-hmm. And it
makes you grow.
Yes, it does. And as soon as I started posting about using their products, I would say within a month, the product line that I used before, which I've used since I started hairdressing when I was like 17. So a long time. I'm older than I look, so a long time.
We're both young. Sorry, I would say younger. We're both older than we look. I think that's a secret. We'll live here.
And they messaged me wanting to send me products to post. I was like, fuck off.
Too late.
Yeah. It's just like what? So I had to change brand for you to want to send me some things. It's just, yeah, it's It's a shame, but I will say that you can now. They've been a brand for 3 years now, and you can see changes with other brands in the industry. Like they're starting to do more for hairdressers. They're starting to support their hairdressers. They're starting to put like things together. Whereas before there was nothing. It was like the color brands always advertise themselves to the people getting their hair done rather than to the hairdressers using the color. Whereas now all these brands are starting, and it's good.
You know what? It's actually so nice to hear what you're saying. It's so much positive and so beautiful. Like I could tell from online watching anything you post that Danger Jones is an amazing brand. Do you know how many compliments I got recently with my hair? Like I'm giving myself compliments as well. You know, even I think it's been a month since last time I seen you, and I was like, my hair, like I've never I always loved my color since I went to you. What?
They're using, so they have this deck that they give out to educators like of the color, so they can so just so you know all the things that you need to know about the color to then go and educate your own classes. And they're using the picture of your hair for the artistic toners.
Guys, could you send it to me? Like I want to see
Yeah,
it.
the one that I posted on my Instagram.
Is that Wes?
They're taking it for the deck.
Guys, oh my gosh.
So your hair
my hair
famous.
made it. Oh, that's actually amazing. Because see, I was in London a couple of weeks ago, my birthday, and I was like, every photo, I was like, oh my god. I was like, next time I see you in person, I want to see it in person. I was like, I love my hair. But to nicely end this, was like we'd say voice note, this episode. There's a couple of like two quick questions I want to ask.
Okay.
Well, it's nothing crazy. Like if say like there is someone out there who went through ups and downs, roller coaster, like what would be advice you could give to them, regardless of what they do in life? People struggle, and there is people who hide, what they go through. Sometimes it's nice to see like someone who went through a bit of up and downs, and also now in such a good place. Is there any like quick advice you could give to them?
Oh God, I feel like for a while I was trying to chase a place that there wasn't going to be ups and downs, because I was so like, when you've gone through that traumatic stuff, you're just like, oh my God, like I just need to get to a place where there's going to be no drama. There is no such thing. Like it's about, because there's always going to be ups and downs to life. And for a while, anytime anything bad happened, my nervous system would be like, and I'd be like, oh my God, I can't handle this, because I just couldn't, I got into that space of not being able to cope with anything. So it's about working on, this does sound really cheesy, but it's about working on yourself. I didn't know anything about resetting nervous systems. I didn't know anything about self-love. Like I didn't know about talking kindly to yourself. I didn't know about, just all those things. Like there's stuff like, one of the things that helped me the most at the start was, you can listen to like self-meditate. Because a lot of people, I remember at the start, I was like, I can't afford to go to therapy. I can't afford to like do all these things. Like you see all these things like getting hypnosis and stuff, and I can't afford to do all that. But there's this on YouTube you can listen to sleep meditations and like for positive affirmation. I used to hate the word affirmation. Like, oh, I'm not sitting in the mirror going, you're so amazing, or you're like, look at your hair, like, oh, you've got this. Like I was like, fuck off. But going to sleep and listening to these, it really helps to rewire your brain, and that'll just it will help. It will help you be able to navigate
through
the difficult things, because you can't stop difficult things from happening.
Yeah,
you can't.
You can. I think also in life you only have control of you on your own actions,
and that will help build up your self-worth as well. And when your self-worth is low, which I didn't realize either, you allow bad things to happen to you all the time. Like the thing that I went through for 2 years, I could have stopped that in 2 months. But I wasn't strong enough to put my boundaries in and say, I'm not going to allow you to treat me like this anymore. But after 2 years, I was like, oh, but I did everything I could. Yeah, but I didn't stop it. And that is a self-worth thing. And that is not being strong enough to say, I don't decide. Because if that was my sister, I'd be like, you are not going through that anymore. Like, we're ending this now. That is done. Whatever. But when it's yourself, you allow so much more shit on yourself.
Because you think it can carry.
Yeah. Listen to sleep hypnosis,
affirmations,
and speak to yourself like you are like your best friend and your sister, because you'll stop.
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah,
because I think
I am nice to myself, and I didn't even know that. And that's the thing. Like the hardest, you can't change something that you don't know you're doing.
Yeah,
But when you start like Mel Robbins, I know she's almost over it. But like if you've not heard of her, or if you haven't really, yes, if you were to listen to her every day, you would get sick of it. No offense to Mel if you're listening. But like if you to get yourself out of that like low self-worth hole, it's crazy how these little mindset, because you can't change what's happening in life, but you can change how you show up and how you deal with it, and what you let in and what you allow to affect you.
So that's very true.
That's a good answer.
So much. That, you know what? I was taking notes. I know, like, I'm gonna also take notes after, because I think I need that as well right now. So it's actually amazing. And then in the final, not a question, but if you and your younger Danielle sitting next to each other, what would you tell her today?
Oh, I would tell her that you don't need a man.
That's so fun.
I would, because so the first thing that happened when I went to therapy, I was like, I don't think I need to be here, because everyone always says when you go to therapy, it's like to do with things that happen to you in your older life is generally due to trauma as a child. And I'm so lucky, I had such a good childhood. And it makes me feel bad, because then I'm like, it doesn't matter how good you raise your kids, they can still go fuck it up as soon as they turn into an adult.
Sadly.
Because I got set up in completely the right way, and then my 20s were just disasters. And this is probably a self-worth thing, but I just needed a man to love me to feel happy, basically, which is so embarrassing. But it's the truth. And that's what I chased my whole 20s, was as long as I've got a man that and I'm in a relationship that gives me love, then I will be, then I'm loved.
Yeah, I'm full cup, basically.
And I think the more unhealthy relationships I was in, because they were never great, the more my self-love went down, and then you just feel like, well, I'm unlovable. So
that's not the case.
I know.
But things we say to ourselves is actually crazy.
And I think there'll be a lot of people that can relate to that in relationships, and you can feel lonely. You can feel more lonely in a relationship than single sometimes if you're not getting that love, because then you're like, well, they're not giving it to me, but I don't want to leave because then I'll be even more alone. But it's about you have to be able to give it to yourself first, which I never got in my 20s, ever. But it's true.
So yeah. You know what? I think I'm actually blown away. You are such an amazing person, and I think there'll be so many beautiful things to listen back to anyone, and I think relate. And I'm so grateful to have you here today. I was waiting. I was like, you wasn't my list, because I have a list. I was like, my wish list type of thing. I was like, who I would love to have here in the room. And you was there for a long time, but I knew eventually we'd be in Edinburgh. We can actually sit here in the studio and then go through such a amazing, empowering. You empowering me today. So honestly, thank you so much for being here today.
It's been so much fun. Thank you for having me.
And that's a wrap.
Yay!
Thank you.